Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked up for this week. So I think let's just go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a TWSBI VAC 700R. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Mediterraneo celluloid. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Hawaii resin. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the King Cobra. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Vulcan's Forge. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Seas. We have an Omas Ogiva Cocktail Blue Angel. We have a Visconti Daedalus. We have a Pelican M1000 Varden Starlight, and then we have a Pelican M1000 Varden Sunlight. So let's look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the TWSBI VAC 700R, and this is really the probably the flagship, I would say, of TWSBI. When I say flagship, I mean really their top pen. There are a lot more lower end pens that will sell a lot more, probably like the TWSBI Eco, which is an extremely popular pen. Also the Diamond 580. What I like about this is that the TWSBI VAC 700R is a vacuum filling pen rather than a piston filling pen, which is what most of the other TWSBIs actually are in terms of filling mechanisms. And I also like that this one has as well a number 6 size nib. Now you would actually be fooled into thinking that TWSBIs typically only have a number 6 size nib. Well, most of them actually have a number 5 or a 5.5. So this is a little bit better in terms of the nib there. So this is a little bit sort of larger in size, and it's just something that I like. There is a bit of a step down on the VAC 700's R's though, which a lot of people don't like, and they don't like the fluted sort of way that this body flutes out around about here. But it's a pen that I like a lot and I do like writing with. So for me, I think this is quite good, and it's just a pen that I like to write with a lot. The next pen here is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero, and this is the Mediterraneo. And you'll see here that this is a really beautiful celluloid material. It's just a material that I love to bits, and it's named in Italian Mediterraneo for Mediterranean or Mediterranean Sea, and really it's the sea waves that you can see there. So this is quite a nice pen. I do love the celluloid a lot. And I do like the size in my hand as well, and I do like the nib on here. The nib is a number 6 size Leonardo nib, and it's a medium nib with an ebonite feed there, but I like writing with it. So I have this pen inked up with me as well today. The next pen is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero, and this is the Hawaii model. And again, this is just another model or material that I like a lot. This is actually the resin, not a celluloid there, but you see there that sort of material is really quite captivating. So again, Hawaii, it looks like the luscious Hawaiian beaches and also the blue seas. This also has a number 6 size nib on it, but this is a broad steel nib, and this one's a cartridge converter, whereas the celluloid version of the Mediterraneo is actually a piston filling mechanism with a gold nib. But that's a pen that I also like a lot as well. And then I have this pen, and this pen is the Atelier Lusso, and this is the Andromeda in the King Cobra. and this was a material that I did handpick myself and have made into this pen by Eric Tellialuso. And I do love this pen a lot. I think it really is a beautiful pen. For me, I wanted a pen that had a lot of gold in it, but also some silver. So I kind of had the option of what colour that I would put in this pen. And the reason why I'm kind of chuckling, because I've never actually thought about this before, but I have never, from my recollection, put gold or silver ink into this pen. And maybe I should actually start doing so. I normally have an ink on there which is Diamine, Skull and Roses, but maybe I should do that. I should put a gold or silver ink in there, because that's really why I bought this. It has a number 6 size Yovo nib, but that's why I bought this material, was so that I could have a lovely gold or silvery ink in there and sort of alternate between the two. And I've never actually put that ink or that colour ink in that pen. The next pen I have inked up today is this Tellialuso Andromeda, and this is the Vulcan's Forge, and this is another custom pen that I had made by Eric at Tellialuso, and this pen nearly didn't come to me because I had a different pen or different material earmarked for the Andromeda, and literally at the 11th hour I decided that I remember that I really liked orange inks, and I was thinking what colour pens, because I normally match colour inks to pens, what colour pens would I like to put the coloured ink in. And on the 11th hour I suddenly thought, you know what, I've got a load of pens on order and I've not got an orange pen. So I very quickly started looking for orange material and found this one, and I had Eric turn this pen for me. And again, this is a number 6 size Yovo nib. It's a broad nib, same as the King Cobra. It's a cartridge converter, but I just love how those Yovo nibs write. So for me, that's another one I have inked up this week. And then I have another Tellialuso Andromeda, and this is the Tectonic Seas. And you can kind of see why, because that looks like a topographical photo of the ocean and Earth as well. So I kind of like some of this, and especially this white here is very reminiscent of clouds or water wash in the sea, in the oceans. And you get quite a bit of chatoyance off of that as well. So for me, I do like that a lot. It's a pen I like writing with. And again, it has a number 6 size Yovo nib on there, broad nib. I am a sucker for the Yovo broad nibs. I do like them. They write very smooth, pretty wet, not overly wet, not fire hose wet, but wet enough for me that they're not dry. So that's another pen that I have inked up this week. And then we have this Omas Ogiva, and it's a cocktail, and it's the Blue Angel. And this is a marker of a pen. It's a blue pen. Now, I don't use it as a highlighter, but I've been thinking I should do. It has a 52-degree nib with an ebonite feed. 52 degrees is the angle of which that nib is ground, but you can probably see there that this has a lot of tipping on that nib. So this actually writes like a marker pen, and probably would be good as a highlighter. And I probably could put some, maybe I don't have any ink but of this kind, but maybe I could get some Pelican highlighter yellow ink and put in there. But I kind of think that it would be a little bit of a waste in a blue pen. I think I'd like to see that in maybe a clear demonstrator. But I could put that in if I wanted to. But I typically put a blue ink in there though to match the blue pen. And then we have this lovely, stunning pen, and this is the Visconti Daedalus. And this is a pen that I've looked at for a long time and I wanted, and I like the pen a lot. I actually got the same blue material in the Visconti Opera Master Luna, which was a Goulet exclusive, and I jumped on that as soon as it came out. This Daedalus was really too expensive for me in terms of the retail price. I've had the opportunity more recently to pick one up at quite a discount, so I decided to jump at it. And for me, this really is a stunning pen, and I like it. I like how light it is. It's a Paravac double reservoir there, and it has a number 6 size, as all Visconti nibs are, and it's a medium 23 cat palladium nib. But for me, I love writing with this nib and this pen, so I have that one inked up with me this week as well. And then we have two rather sort of stunning Vardhan pens, and this is a Pelican M1000 Vardhan, and this is the Starlight version. So this has a lot of Varden stripes here in the body, but also gold stardust here, hence the name Starlight. But this really is a stunning Pelican. It's a Pelican M1000, but for me, this really is a beautiful pen, and it writes well. So with all Pelican M1000s, they come with a Pelican M1000 number 8 size nib, and this is a plastic ABS feed, but it's a very large feed. I love the size of the Pelican M1000s. I love it in the size of my hand. I like the thickness of the section. I like the not only the size but the weight, and it's not a heavy pen. And typically I tend to like more heavier pens. So for me, I like it. It's just, for me, it ticks all the boxes. So I have that one inked up. And then I have this one, and this is the Varden Starlight. Again, another Pelican M1000, and this is its sibling. And this, again, is a really lovely work of art. It's you can see all of those Varden stripes going through that body, and just how much that sort of Varden sparkles. Now, Varden is the technique. The stripes are actually abalone shell, and they are layered and sort of laid into place to create these sort of straight lines. But again, I love it. I love how it writes. I love the nib size. I just love how the pen writes. So I have this pen inked up as well, and this for me just works really, really well. So that is another pen that I have inked up this week. Let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is the TWSBI VAC 700R. So let's do an ink swatch. And this is a broad nib, and it's not a fire hose nib, but it's a wet nib, or it's wet enough for me. Now, this is the TWSBI VAC 700R, and it is a broad nib and it is a steel nib, but I do like it. And then the ink in here is Diamine Robert, which is a Cult Pens exclusive, and this ink tends to, I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but it tends to actually sheen, and it's drying at the moment, but it will actually sort of, you will see like a greeny gold sheen to it that comes on this ink. So that is an ink that I do like writing with. The next pen is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Mediterraneo. So we will do an ink swatch here. Now this is a medium nib. It's a gold nib as well. It's a 14 karat gold nib, but it does write more like a medium, and it doesn't really have much bounce to it. So this is the Leonardo, and it is, I'm going to abbreviate this, otherwise it will be too long, Momento Zero Mediterraneo, and it is a medium, and just double checking this, yes, it is a 14 karat gold nib. I thought it was, but just wanted to double check that. And then the ink in here is Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue, which is quite a nice light blue ink. The next pen is Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Hawaii. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a broader nib, so it will put down a broader line, and it also is quite a wet nib as well. Wetter than the previous nib, I would say. So this is a Leonardo, and it's the, again I'll abbreviate it, Momento Zero Hawaii, and it's a broad still nib. And then the ink in here is Robert Oster, and this one is Blue Water Ice, which was an ink I wasn't sure if I would like, but I do like it a lot, and I am going through that ink quite fast. The next pen is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the King Cobra. So again, we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, this is again another broad nib, quite a wet nib, but not necessarily a fire hose nib, but still it is quite wet. So this is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda. You spell the E correctly, write the E correctly, and then this is the King Cobra, and it is a broad still nib, so the Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine, Skull and Roses, which is a German exclusive ink, so you won't normally be able to buy that outside of Germany. The next pen is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Vulcan's Forge. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and you'll see that this is actually quite a nice vibrant orange ink, which I think actually matches this pen quite well. So this is the Atelier Lusso. Again, it's another Andromeda, and this is the Vulcan's Forge, and it's a broad still nib again, and this is a Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is Sailor, Gentle, Apricot, which is a beautiful orange ink. The next pen here is the Atelier Lusso Andromeda in the Tectonic Sea. So we'll do an ink swatch again. And again, this is another broad nib, and this is actually quite a wet nib as well. Not a fire hose nib though, but it's still quite a wet nib. So it's an Atelier Lusso Andromeda, and it's the Tectonic Seas, and it's a broad still nib. And then the ink in here is Akamon, and it's Passage Blur. which, as you can see, is a blue ink. It's actually quite a nice blue ink, I would say. The next pen is the Omas Ogiva Cocktail Blue Angel. Now, we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is the pen that has a 52-degree nib, and you'll see here that it is quite a marker pen here. So, just how quickly you can shade a square here and do an ink swatch. So this is the Omas Ogiva Cocktail Blue Angel, and this really is getting quite broad, and it's a 52-degree nib, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Sapphire. But you can see here that this is a marker of a nib. The next pen is the Visconti Daedalus. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, this is nowhere near as broad, but it is still a very wet nib. This is quite a firm nib as well, but this is the Visconti Daedalus, and it is a medium 23 karat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Visconti Blue. But I do like that pen. The next pen is the Pelican M1000 Varden Starlight. So we'll do an ink swatch again. And this is actually a very bouncy nib. M1000 nibs tend to be very bouncy compared to all of the other Pelican nibs. So this is the Pelican M1000 Varden Starlight. And strangely enough, it's a medium 18 karat gold nib, but with a lot of the M1000 nibs, they tend to be more wider. So I would say this, if you compare this to maybe the Twisby Vac, this, which is a broad, this is more like a double broad. If I sort of compared it to this one here, which is the Atelier Lusso board, or even these here, again, I'd say it looks more than a board to me, maybe bordering on a double board. The ink in here is Pilot Eroshizuku Inner Ho, which is a sort of greeny gold sort of coloured ink. And then last but not least, we have the Pelican M1000 Vardhan Sunlight. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now I would say that this nib probably isn't quite as broad. At least it doesn't feel quite as broad as the previous nib. So this is a Pelican M1000 Vardhan Sunlight. And again, it is a medium 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon, which for me is quite a lovely reddish maroony coloured ink. So I think let's go through these pens inked up one more time, we have a TWSBI VAC 700R in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Robert. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in a Mediterraneo in a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Robert Oster Australian Sky Blue. We have a Leonardo Momento Zero in the Hawaii with a broad steel nib, inked up with Robert Oster Blue Water Ice. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda King Cobra in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Skull and Roses. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda in a Vulcan's Forge in a broad steel nib, inked up with Sailor Gentle Apricot. We have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda Tectonic Seas in a broad steel nib, inked up with Akamon Passage Blur. We have an Omos Ogiva Cocktail Blue Angel with a 52-degree nib, and this is an 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Sapphire. We have a Visconti Daedalus in a medium 23 karat palladium nib, inked up with Visconti Blue. We have a Pelican M1000 Varden Starlight in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Pilot Roshizuku in a hoe. And then last but not least, we have the Pelican M1000 Varden Sunlight in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon. So that's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.